Oh, hold on, CC. Lucas. Look at the cocks re-breaking. What happened to that horse?
The cock juice is flowing today, boys.
Well, no Cox juice flowing in the Florida Derby. No Brad Cox horses in it, but I'm Magic with Mike Somich, Aaron Halterman. Gentlemen, the Florida Derby drawn here as you see it on the screen. Initial reactions have been quite interesting and quite intense, so I'm eager to get into it with you guys. Aaron, I'll go to you first. What were your initial thoughts when you see the Florida Derby field?
First of all, you're the star of when the race is getting ready to end and hit the wire on our reaction videos. You are every time you're the one that's just going nuts. As far as the Florida Derby goes, listen, I think the main challengers, and you can tell by the morning line odds who the main challengers are: the 2, the 3, the 6, the 7. They all kind of broke where they need to, or they all kind of drew where they needed to draw. I think if you're Classic Causeway, you probably wanted to be inside. You're gonna set the pace, so you want to kind of be inside horses. You don't have to clear anybody. Simplification, who the hell knows what he is running style anymore. Charge it, he can kind of draft right there by Classic Causeway, and White Barrio kind of behind them. So I thought that the draw was good for everybody. That's a contender.
Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think Classic Causeway probably wins the draw here. I think Classic Causeway had to draw inside of Charge It to really have an increase his chances of winning the race, because you now know that Classic Causeway should set the pace. Charge It should sit right outside. If you flipped it and you had Charge It in the lead, I'm not sure I'd like Classic Causeway as much in this spot. But drawing inside means that you are going to see Classic Causeway up front, which is definitely a positive for him. As Aaron mentioned, simplification is really the wild card here. I mean, we saw this horse on the lead a couple times. Last 2 preps, this horse has missed the break, broken poorly, just not been anywhere close. It had to come from the clouds. So really where simplification lands is the one big question mark. But the nice part is that breaking from the 3-hole, you can break well, you can break poorly, and you can still work a trip out from there. It's not like he's breaking from the 1 or breaking from the 11 where you have less options.
A horse that might be interesting from a pace perspective too is Clapton. Just raced last week, was it, Mike? On March, or just 6 days ago, March 24th, because you said you just covered this on Good Chalk, Bad Chalk. Wins a 7-furlong starter or state bred race by 4 lengths. So he's probably going to have a lot of speed in here as well. Mark in the chat saying it looks like it sets up really well for the 3 and the 7. So let's jump right into it. Your initial picks when you look at this field, Mike. White Barrio has been your Derby pick for months since he won the Holy Bull. He's got to be your pick to win the Florida Derby.
I got to say, the fact that Classic Causeway is here, and I'm surprised Classic Causeway showed up for the Florida Derby after doing so well at Tampa. I'm surprised that we've added this race here on the schedule for him. That was a great addition for White Barrio, because it means Charge It isn't going to be loose on the lead. And that was definitely a concern if you didn't have Classic Causeway added to this field. This sets up perfectly for White Barrio. You want to watch how this is going to play out? Go watch the Fountain of Youth again, because this could play out the exact same way, where White Barrio sits right behind 2 speed horses, tilts out 3 wide around the turn, gets the jump on Simplification, and Simplification just has too much work to do coming down the lane. We could have the exact same playbook here. Charge It, obviously, a little bit more of an unknown. We haven't seen this horse in this type of field yet, so it'll be interesting to see what he's able to do. But, I mean, if you're telling me White Barrio isn't the favorite here, I'm betting White Barrio pretty much every time.
Tim in the chat agrees with you. And Aaron, I see you nodding your head along with Mike there. You agree, too, on White Barrio?
I mean, if you could lock in 3-1, absolutely. I'm skeptical that the horse will be that. But again, I think the morning line kind of tells us, well, even if he's the favorite, he's not going to be an unbettable favorite if you really like him. Listen, I totally agree with Somich. We're best friends on this show so far here, because I think the presence of Classic Causeway here helps White Barrio. I just think he can draft behind the speed, Charge It being out by himself. While the Pletcher horses aren't running very well, that would be a scary kind of proposition. But with Classic Causeway out there and Charge It kind of pressing each other, White Barrio, you're right. It seems just like the Holy Bull, where he's just going to sit off and pounce. And it's the same situation. The key is simplification. If he does what he's done in the last 2 races, he's going to run up and get second. He's going to be too late. He's not, he didn't show that tactical speed that White Barrio has shown. If White Barrio gets a jump on him, it's over. He's never going to run him down. Now, if for some reason Simplification decides that, Saturday's the day he's going to wake up and get in position, then we could really see a battle. But I'm with Somich. It looks a whole lot like this number 7 White Barrio is going to just have that same trip and beat these horses again.
As Magic has mentioned multiple times, Simplification is just kind of a goofy horse. It hasn't really learned to change leads yet down the lane, has had breaking issues the last 2 races, even though he went one wire to wire prior to that. So when you're talking about one horse at 5-2 and another at 3-1, and one horse you can point to multiple faults that you've seen over the last couple of races, and the other you're like, he made his trip. And that's the thing. Yeah, White Abarrio tripped out in the Holy Bull. I apologize, not Fountain of Youth. White Abarrio tripped out in the Holy Bull. But man, like, why is he not going to trip out again? He has the tactical speed to sit right behind the speed here. He has the talent to be able to make the move around the turn, much like what we saw from Epicenter last weekend. I think it sets up beautifully for White Abarrio.
Well, let's analyze it exactly. Every race he's made his trip. It's not just once, right? And like you said, he's got the speed to where if for some reason Classic Causeway Charge It don't want the lead, he can go take it from you. We've seen him go gate to wire and win. And we also see him, like you said, sit off and win. So it's kind of like a little bit similar to Epicenter last week, where it's like, okay, we know he can go gate to wire. And then he showed that new dimension. Well, White Abarrio has shown it already. He doesn't have to prove anything as far as the running style. He just has to go out and, I think at least repeat what he did in the Holy Bull. And if he does, I don't see any way he's going to lose this race.
We keep bringing up the Holy Bull here. I'm going to throw up the replay, and we can watch it while we keep talking about the race, because there's some interesting things happening in the chat. I want to hit up you guys. Thanks for joining us here.
Holy Bull and Simplification
was Magic. If you actually go back to the break too, I want to point one thing out, and this is kind of watch the 4-horse. The 4-horse is Simplification. Look at him rocking in the gate there. That is not something you want to see from a racehorse, where he's rocking back, because that is why you miss the break, right? Because you're not fully prepared. All 4 feet aren't on the ground that can dig in. And so that's something right away when you see that, that's a concern, because if the horse keeps rocking like that consistently, you're going to continue to break poorly. And that's what we saw the last two times. And that's why, White Abarrio here is able to sit right to the flank of the speed, and Simplification is going to have to find a way through all of these other horses.
Mark saying that Simplification looks like a good stalker. I think that's his best way of winning, right? He has won setting the pace before, but especially with this field, that's his best chance. Nick is feeling the Ortiz brothers. They're back from Dubai. They couldn't make the exacta work in the Dubai World Cup, but he's going to go with Classic Causeway over Simplification. Strike Hard for third, underrated and run better than expected. This will kind of lead to a good point here, Aaron. As far as price horses go, all the logical win horses, they're really short prices here, and nobody's going to be real excited about Papa Cap to win this race, I think, at least in this group. So is Strike Hard a good optional underneath horse here for Nick?
I mean, throw the rest of them in a bag, pull one out, and put it in third. That's what I mean. Sure, if you want to play Strike Hard, I don't think he's any good, but I mean, Captain got third in the Fountain of Youth, and he's not very good. He's in it again. He's probably going to be a price if you want to take him. I mean, really, when you get out of those of the 4 big ones, it's a crapshoot. And a lot of times we'll see it in Florida. A horse will hit the board in a race like this, and it's like, how did that happen? Like, where did that horse come from? Because what will likely happen between Classic Causeway and Charge It, one of them are probably going to drop out of it, right? And then maybe Simplification has some trouble or something like that. And it's like, okay, the horse who got third really didn't run that well. It's just the other ones tried to go out and win, and they faltered somehow. So, yeah, go ahead, play Strike Hard. I mean, I'm he is what he is.
This is an interesting setup for that tri-play, right? If you're looking at, okay, how am I going to play a trifecta here? What horses I'm going to try and use at a price underneath? Because look, the top 4 competitors here are all legit Derby contenders. This is the first prep where we've seen 4 legit Derby win contenders in the same prep. They're going to be hammered in the tri. So if you're trying to find value, you're trying to find a way to create manufacture some value in the trifecta here, you're going to have to throw 2 of them out most likely. And if we talk about how that happens, I mean, White Abarrio most likely is going to be in the tri because of his style, right? So you have Classic Causeway and Charge It. One scenario, they go out, they kill each other, they both quit, right? And then you have Simplification, White Abarrio run up to the 1-2 spots, and that third spot's available. The other scenario is the 2 of them run off, and no one catches them. And for some reason, White Abarrio or Simplification doesn't get it going, and someone passes both of them. I think scenario 1 is much more likely than scenario 2. I think it might be tough to try and get 2 of these 4 horses, though, outside of the tri.
Let's maybe attack this a different way because Chris brings up a good point. Which one of these, he means 7-2, so we'll include Charge It here, but which one of these horses is likely to float up? Because I think we're all thinking White of Barrio and Simplification take money. Aaron, from Classic Causeway, Simplification, Charge It, White of Barrio, who gets ignored on the board?
Tough question, because they all kind of have like that one thing about them where they might not take money. Like Classic Causeway has buyers that aren't very good. Buyers get bet pretty hard. Charge It has no stakes experience and just coming off a maiden, but has the connections, and that's the other aspect that gets bet hard. But then you got the winners of the preps and Simplification, White of Barrio. My guess would be Charge It floats up a little bit, and then my second guess would be Classic Causeway. But I think Charge It's the one that eventually something's got to give, and he gets up to maybe 4 or 5 to 1.
I'm going to agree with you on that one, and I think Mike does too. Mike, I'll go to you on this, Mark, talking about White of Barrio, another fever spike, and this happened leading into the Holy Bull, and he actually missed 2 works and still won. So are you any worried about another fever spike for him coming into the Florida Derby, or that 3 furlong work in 34 and change yesterday? Does that make you feel a little bit better?
I mean, I felt pretty good anyway, but yeah, the work obviously is a positive. I might argue as a better, the work is a negative, because I think you could make a case that White of Barrio is the horse that would have floated up here if you had all 4 of these and White of Barrio didn't have that last work, because you've got Classic Causeway who won the Tampa Bay Derby, you've got Charge It who has the connection, Simplification who won the last prep, and then you go back and you've got White of Barrio who some people said tripped out and is a fluke, and so there was some way here that we could see White of Barrio float up, and that 34 work not only solidified that I don't think he will, but that he should be the favorite in this spot.
Let's see. Keep going through the chat. Luis is going to, let's see if Classic Causeway is fast enough. This will definitely be the test, because the Tampa Bay Derby number came back actually quite low. Oh, Captain the trifecta. Actually, speaking of which, I'm going to pull this back off because I just remembered what happens in the race that's on the screen here. They got Oh Captain into the trifecta in the Fountain of Youth Stakes there. Mark, this made me laugh when I saw it pop up. One person has faith in Papa Cap. That's his trainer, Mark Cassie, becoming the new Dale Romans, working bullets, firing blanks, and putting aloe on that burn. Ouch. That is a burn if I've ever read one. Poor Mark Cassie.
That would be the one horse. If you said, like, what one horse would you absolutely not bet at the morning line? Ironically, it would be Papa Cap. I have no interest in that horse at like anything but 50 to 1, 60 to 1. And then we can start talking. But 10 to 1 seems wild to me on Papa Cap in this spot.
Yeah, that one's that's pretty crazy. Dennis says he's thinking of using Papa Cap underneath here. A couple people talk about
Dennis.
Good timing.
Yeah.
Jared Rogers is a big believer in Charge It winning, and off of that, Jack actually asked, what does Charge It go off at in the Kentucky Derby if he wins on Saturday? Aaron, complete chaos. Charge It wins this race. We all just go, okay, sure. Why not? What does he go off at in the Kentucky Derby?
God, what a tough question. He's not going to be below Epicenter. He would not be below the winner of the Santa Anita Derby, who, if it's Messier or Forbidden Kingdom, either one. He probably slides into like the 4th or 5th choice, which is going to be what, 8 to 1, 10 to 1, 12 to 1, in that range, I would say. That'd be my best guess.
Yeah, I would say he's probably 8 to 10 to 1, and it depends who wins the Arkansas Derby and who wins the Wood. If Secret Oath wins the Arkansas Derby, I think she's probably going to be the most overbet horse in the Derby, and she may end up sliding into that 3 spot as a 3rd favorite. Same with Mo Donegal or Zandon. There's other horses too that could win these preps and kind of get a lot of late buzz on them. If Charge It ends up being Pletcher's only horse in the Derby, I think 8 to 1 to 10 to 1 is probably the correct range.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't remember Known Agenda, who won this race last year. He was like 15 or so, but he kind of had some flaws on the resume, where this one, if he wins, there's not a lot of flaws there.
Also drew the rail, which affected his price as well.
That's true too. Yeah, absolutely.
And he'd had 2 clunkers, or a really bad race, and they put the blinkers on him, and he ran lights out, in the Florida Derby. Yeah, I think he was 10 to 1 on the morning line for the Kentucky Derby there. Mark says Charge It reminds him of Materiality in 2015, a late bloomer. His lack of racing and seizing will show at Churchill if he runs top 2. I agree with that one. This will be the Kentucky Derby off the Florida Derby, win or lose. That's a different ball game there.
Well, I'll tell you this. I remember Materiality very well, and that Florida circuit that year set up for a horse like Materiality to win. It was not all that strong. this seems tougher, guys. We may look back a month from now and say, well, maybe they weren't that good. This seems like maybe it doesn't have the horse that's going to win it, but they've got contenders. It's a deep field, and I think that's why it's really tough for Charge It to come in here and run top two. Say we had him in the Arkansas Derby, a race, we're not talking about now, but we know it's out. That's where you could see a horse like Charge It maybe win. I don't know here. He's going to have to be really good to win.
We were a little surprised that he didn't send Charge It to Arkansas or Emmanuel or something. Like somebody, Fletcher usually would send somebody out there when he has a few different candidates and he's trying to figure out what to do with them. Nick's saying that he likes White Barrio, thinks he goes out, or at least he'll go off as the favorite here. I got White Barrio. This is a workout for you, Mike. I'll let you watch your boy White Barrio on screen there.
I'm telling you, man, workouts are one of the most overrated things in handicapping horses.
This is actually his sales workout, so even more overrated.
Oh yeah, that right there.
Right.
That is a Kentucky Derby winning sales workout if I've ever seen one from a 1-year-old. It's a 1-year-old right now we're watching. Ron?
2-year-old. There we go. This is what I thought I'd clicked on. I apparently clicked on something very different.
Oh, is this the one from today? This one?
Yes, they're Monday, I think it was.
Oh, this is from 10 days ago.
Okay.
No.
It's not the 4 furlong. I was trying to find that 3 furlong blowout. Apparently, he's so fast they couldn't catch it on camera. Here's a good question from Nick. He says he read that Classic Causeway has been trying rating in his work since they're already in because he won the Tampa Derby. Could you see Classic Causeway trying a different tactic like we saw with Epicenter last time out? I say no. I think that the post draw kind of forces their hand. Aaron, what do you say?
Not with this post. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. And I get like the idea of, well, we're practicing for the Derby. Well, this is the Florida Derby. It's $1 million race. If he breaks well, and it looks like he's going to be on the lead, there's no way they're rating him. Now, if he doesn't break well, if a couple horses cross, then maybe they go, okay, well, just sit him in third. Because he doesn't need the points. But if you're breaking well and you're on the inside and it's $1 million grade 1 race, you're not taking up and experimenting. You're going to the lead.
Yeah, if you want to show a replay magic, you can pull up the Tampa Bay Derby and you can watch what it looks like when a horse breaks well. Because he caught an absolute flyer out of that gate. And if you catch anything near that flyer again, why in the world would you then rate a horse behind 2 or 3 horses and catch dirt in your face when that's not what the horse wants in $1 million race? It makes I agree that if you flip Charge It in Classic Causeway and you have Charge It in the 2 and Classic Causeway in the 6 and you want to try it, maybe, but it's still $1 million race. Don't you want the $600,000? Like, come on.
Yeah. That was when someone said, "What are you worried about Epicenter not being fully cranked for the Louisiana Derby because the Kentucky Oaks is the goal?" I was like, first of all, there's no guarantees in horse racing, and these people know that as well as anyone. Second of all, there's literally a million reasons why you have him geared up for the Louisiana Derby. So
I don't know who needs to hear this, but I get this comment all the time as, "Oh, he doesn't need to win." Guys, you got to think of it as an owner and as a trainer and as a jockey. Yeah, they don't need Derby points, but it's the Louisiana Derby. It's the Florida Derby. These are huge races. It's not some $100,000 prep out there. They still want to win these races.
It's the race of the meet. It's like it's like saying, well, does he really want to try and win the Traverse when the Breeders' Cup Classic's the goal? It's like,
yes.
Yeah, he does.
You like White Barrio with Spike 2 fevers. How do we know that won't happen Derby week? Like, you look at some of the horses that have been knocked out of the Derby in the week of training, right? I mean, it's just there's no sure thing. You're not guaranteed to get in the gate, even if you have enough points. So you might as well make sure that the horse is ready to go in these spots.
Yeah. Alex, our boy in Canterbury, says workout videos are equivalent to Andrew Wiggins' summer videos hitting quite home for
it's like
Alex.
Ben Simmons' 3-point shooting practice. It's how much I care about workouts.
So here's Classic Causeway. It's going to be the 4. This is what Mike's talking about. Look at immediately. This is why.
It looks like he cheated. Like, I'm not kidding.
This is why you don't try. Nick, I'm not making fun of you. It's an honest question. But this is exactly why you don't try rating Classic Causeway in the Florida Derby. It's not even.
Who's going to break better, Classic Causeway or Simplification? Like that. Talk about the two polar opposites we just showed on the show with replays. I remember watching this. I think it was us 3 on the reaction. We're like, holy crap, look at that.
Because the question was, would he rate here? Because there was a possibility that he was going to rate in this spot too. And you break like that, like 0 chance you're rating.
Yeah, absolutely, unbelievable. Yeah, he's going to the front. And like I said, unless he anything can happen. If he breaks the opposite of that, well, then they're not going to just rush him up. They might try something, but yeah, you can expect if everything goes to plan, he'll be on the lead.
Just curious on our thoughts. Yeah, no worries, Nick. I know Nick's if you're new to this, Nick is someone that's in our chats all the time, so I know he could take the ribbing, and we know I talk all the time. Whenever Nick and Mike are on a horse on the Magic Mike show and I'm not, I'm like, probably gonna lose this race.
Well, to be fair, Nick didn't say they were gonna do it. He just said he read that they were thinking, or they were practicing with him in workouts and stuff. So,
and the argument could definitely be made that that's a logical thing to do because Classic Causeway probably not as fast as Forbidden Kingdom. Like there are other horses in this class, early voting, that are lightning fast early. The Classic Causeway probably doesn't want to get into a pace duel going 1.25 miles the first Saturday in May. So I would be shocked. Well, not shocked. I would not be surprised if the idea was to try and rate Classic Causeway in the Derby in that 3rd or 4th spot.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts on this? I know the long shots we didn't give any love to, but there's really, we tried. We tried really hard to make a case. Aaron, I think you said it best, just throw them in a bag and pluck a name out.
Yeah, I was say that's not trying very hard in my book. I didn't try at all. I just think I don't know. Look, I get like trying to find one to spice up the exotics, but if you're sitting here trying to analyze who's going to win the race, it's got to be the 2, the 3, the 6, or 7. If it's not, that is true chaos. So we'll see.
What I would say is to me, the multi-race bets are more interesting with this spot because you're going to have the money pretty evenly spread across 4 horses. Mm-hmm. This is a great spot to single. If you have an opinion, this is a great way to separate yourself because you're going to have people going 4 deep, and going 4 deep in this race is long-term going to cost you money in multi-race bets. So at most, I would go 2 deep, and I think singling is an aggressive way to try and give yourself an advantage on Saturday.
And Dennis saying the Oaks prep for Gulfstream. Is anyone beating the O? Kathleen O. Dennis, I tell you what, we love to throw up the O here. However, I will say, Dennis, if you want more information about that, tune into the Magic Mike show, which will be live on Thursday. We're going to be live at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. We're going live a little early, but we're covering the late pick 4 at Gulfstream. And, of course, we have the inside track to the Florida Derby wagering guide that Aaron Halterman's going to be working on as soon as we get off of here. That's going to have full coverage of every single stakes rate, all 10 of them at Gulfstream, plus the 2 from Oaklawn, the Fantasy and the Arkansas Derby. I tried asking for the Jeff Ruby and Bourbonette to be on there. I was told no. So if you're mad about it, let us know in the chat or the comments section. But thanks so much for joining us. Head over to racenews.com. We'll have full previews for all of the great racing happening this weekend. And then join us for our live reaction show and covering Florida Derby, the Arkansas Derby. Aaron and Jared will be there live. So lots of fun. We'll see you over at racenews.com. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Oh, hold on, CC. Lucas. Look at the cocks re-breaking. What happened to that horse?
The cock's juice is flowing today, boys.